What's going on? For we too blessed to be stressed. How y'all doing? This your fams that get it back at y'all with another message. You realize that life is more peaceful and life is better off. It's just better off being alone. It's just better off just being you and Yahusha. It's better off just being you and the Most High. You gotta understand that, cause when you by yourself, when you ain't got a lot of when you ain't got a lot of people around you, you gotta understand when you got a lot of people surrounded around you, it's a lot of voices in your head, it's a lot of opinions going in your head. And you gotta understand that it can shape your reality, it can shape the way you think, the way you act, the way you talk. You gotta understand that. So when you by yourself, fam, you ain't gotta worry about no drama. You ain't gotta worry about nobody putting you in this and that. You ain't gotta worry about nobody accusing you of doing this and that. You gotta understand that, fam. When you by yourself, you start figuring out like, fam, this is the way I should have been doing all along. You start figuring out your abilities, what you was here to do. You start figuring out your gifts, your talents, the stuff you like, the stuff and you don't like. You gotta understand that, fam. You gotta understand, fam. Life just become more clearer, fam. You gotta understand, fam. Some of the stuff that you want to do, it can be spiritually blocked. It can be blocked because you got blessing blockers around you. You gotta understand that, fam. And no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, it's always gonna be people that criticize you and judge you. People gonna call you weird or odd because you not like them. People gonna call you this and that, or like you lame because you not doing the stuff they doing, or you not following the patterns of this world. You probably got your own flow, your own walk, your own style, your own way of doing things. And don't worry about what people think about you. You gotta understand that what people opinions about you is probably not the opinion that you have about yourself. You gotta understand that. You gotta love yourself. People gonna always judge you. They gonna judge you based off their own insecurities. You gotta understand that. Like I said, people opinions is not the opinions you should people opinions is not the opinions that you have for yourself. You gotta understand that. They are trying to project fear. They're trying to project insecurity on you to make you feel bad about yourself, to make you down yourself. You gotta understand that, fam. And once you start elevating, once you start getting by yourself, you will realize like, dang, I've been distracted so much in my life. I've been distracted. I should have been by myself all alone. You gotta understand that, because when you alone, you figure out you can get stuff done. You ain't gotta worry about you going out and doing this and that. You ain't gotta worry about doing this and that. You gotta understand that when you by yourself, you can get stuff done. You ain't gotta worry about all these distractions, all these there's gonna be temptations and females and lust and things that's gonna come and try to pull you down. You gotta understand that, because each and every new level is going to require a new devil. It's not gonna be peaches and cream. Life gonna hit you from every angle. It's gonna be people that try to come distract you, try to pull you down, try to take what Yahusha gave from you. But you gotta understand that you gotta keep pushing forward. You gotta understand that the best revenge on somebody or people that hurted you is massive success. You gotta understand that the best revenge is don't go back seeking revenge, because you gotta understand that vengeance is what did Yahusha say? He said, vengeance is mine, thus says the Lord. So you gotta understand that, fam. You should want to be by yourself. You shouldn't want to have to always rely on people. You shouldn't want to always have to be around a lot of people. You gotta understand that if you somebody who always gotta be around a lot of people just to get through your day, just to cope and just to run from your problems, then you a bot, bro. You need to start going in and doing that inner work. You gotta understand that, fam. When you by yourself, you gotta understand that Yahusha, he'll sit you down. He'll make you chill out so you can be by yourself. You gotta understand that, because you probably been hurt. You probably going through so much in your life. You probably got trauma. You ain't got the time to sit down. You gotta understand that. He'll sit you down. Sometimes you gotta be by yourself, because you gotta go within yourself and heal yourself. You gotta go within yourself and just talk to yourself. Sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and be like, dang. Sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and just give a pat on your back to yourself of how far you came, of how many trials and tribulations you done been through, that you still here, no matter what the enemy threw at you, no matter what life threw at you. You gotta sometimes take that time out, because you gotta understand that when you're around a lot of people, when you're around people every day, you gotta be around people every day just to get through your day and just to cope. You can't take time out for yourself to do that. You gotta understand that. Some people will send in your life to destroy you. Some people will send in your life to set you back, to distract you, so you wouldn't get to your promise, so you wouldn't get to your greater. You gotta understand that, fam. You gotta understand, like I said, life becomes more clearer. Life do becomes more clearer If you somebody who been through so much your whole life, your blessings is coming for you. You gotta understand that, fam. Yahusha got a blessing with everybody's name on it, fam. And life just, like I said, life just becomes more clearer. Like you see what I'm doing. I'm just out here chilling in nature. Out here just having a good time. Just looking at the birds fly early in the morning. Some people don't know. Some people don't normalize waking up early and getting their day started. Some people don't normalize going out in nature and getting a little bit of sunshine. Some people don't normalize drinking water. You gotta understand that, fam. Cause you gotta understand, you could be hurt on the inside. You can be out here smiling and living your best life and doing all this and that, but you can be hurt on the inside. You gotta understand that no matter how hard you try, no matter how much money, no matter how much things you trying to run away from, no matter how bad you trying to run away from, you can't run away from how you feel, fam. You gotta understand that you can have all the worldly riches in the world, you can have all the money, the cars, the clothes, the females, but you can't run away from how you feel. Why you think all these rappers, they got all this money, they got all these cars, and they still smoke? Why you think all these rappers got all this stuff and they got a girlfriend, but they still got another girl on the side, bro? Cause you gotta understand that, bro. They just trying to slip temporary voids in. They trying to slip temporary things in to cope with how they feel. Why you think all these rappers smoke? They vape, they smoke cigarettes, they take drugs. It's because they trying to run away from how they feel. And that drug only get them high for a little bit, and then they gotta come back to reality and face their demons. You gotta understand that, fam. You can't run from your demons, so you might as well just face them on head on. You can't run from how the way you feel, so you might as well just face it head on. The Bible even says, be sober, be sober-minded, be vigilant, because the adversary, the enemy, is running around like a lion seeking to whom he may devour. You gotta understand that. If you're not on guard, if you're not on point, if you're not sober-minded, you won't see the attacks the enemy throwing at you. You will be caught up in that spiritual warfare. You will be caught up. If you out here taking drugs, you got to understand that you more likely to allow demons to just come into your life. You got to understand that, fam. And I know I just be getting off talking, but I just be making videos and just be start talking. I just be talking about everything, but life do becomes more clearer, fam. You got to understand that, fam. Pain don't last always. Pain don't last forever. You got to understand that, fam. You can't never be scared to shine. You can't never be scared to shine. The sun don't care if it hurts your eyes. It don't care if it hurts your eyes. You can't be scared to shine. You can't be here to go. You can't be scared to go out here and get what you want, to get what you deserve. You gotta understand that. You gotta understand Yahusha promised you more. What he say? He said, "For I know the plans I have for you is to prosper you, is to prosper you and not to harm you. It's to give you a hope in the future. It's to give you an expected end." You gotta understand that He promised you an expected end. He promised you a future. He promised you brighter days. He promised you peace. He promised you abundance. He promised you growth. You gotta understand that, fam. So you gotta understand, fam. Life do become more clearer. You just gotta sit down. Sit down and listen to that voice. Sit down and listen to Yahusha. Sit down and allow the Holy Spirit to just maneuver your life, fam. Sometimes you can be moving around a lot. Sometimes you can be fast travel a lot. Sometimes you can be on the go a lot, and you ain't got time to just sit down and just rethink everything and just reprogram. Sometimes you ain't got time to just structure your life. Sometimes you ain't got time to do that. What Lil Tony say in his song? He said, "Give me the swag for niggas switch out." He said, "And my daddy want me to chill out." He said, "It's money." He said, "Money come fast. It's hard to sit down. It be hard to see when I shine, nigga, get down." He said, "Money come fast, it's hard to get down. It be hard to see when I shine, nigga, get down." He said, "I'm going my hard, put my collab, I'm giving the swag for niggas switch out. And my daddy want me to chill out. Money come fast, it's hard to sit down." You see how I say that? That money be coming fast. These riches be coming fast. This stuff be coming fast. Your life be going so fast, it be hard to sit down. Sit down and just quench yourself. Sit down and just clean your mind. All those thoughts be racing. You gotta understand that, fam. You gotta keep moving forward with all you doing, fam. You gotta understand life don't stop for nobody. Live your life, but live it in a way that will make Yahusha happy. Sometimes when you doing, you can have fun in life, but you can't just be out here just hurting people and just hating on people. You can't just be out here just live your life how you want to, destroying the world. So you gotta live your life. You gotta live it in a positive way. You gotta out here be loving people, be kind to people, be genuine to people. You gotta understand that. You gotta love your enemies no matter how bad they hate you. You gotta understand that, fam. You gotta live your life to the fullest, fam, like they say. Everybody gonna be gone one day. And you gotta understand, when you gone, life still gonna be going on. When you gone, life don't stop cause you gone. It's like 6 billion people in this world. Life gonna keep going on. Time don't stop for nobody, man. Fam, everybody got a date. Everybody got a time that they drop, but you don't know when you drop. You don't know how you gonna drop. You don't know the occasion, how you gonna die. Like, you gotta understand that, fam. So with all you doing, you should want to leave an inheritance. Not meaning money and worldly riches. You should want to leave like stuff that your loved ones and people that look up to you, or just people in general, they can look back on and just say, dang, that helped me. You got to understand, sometimes your life is not about you. Sometimes your life can be used to help other people get through their storms, help other people get through their breakthroughs, help other people get through those trials and tribulations. You got to understand that, fam. You can't always be so selfish. Sometimes you gotta be selfless. Sometimes you gotta put others' needs before yours. And I know, as bad as that sound, you got, like I say, love yourself. But sometimes you gotta care for people. Be there for the poor. Help the sick. Help the people in need. Cause you gotta understand that, what he say. Cause you can be that person that's needing help. You can be that person that's in dire need of a blessing. You can be that person. You gotta understand that the tables can flip. You probably see somebody who's homeless or needs some food, and you got all the money, you got all the food, but you said, nah, I don't want to give him none of that. The tables can flip. You gotta understand that Yahushua can raise that person position in a heartbeat. He can raise that person position in a day, and then you would be out here homeless just for not helping them. You gotta understand that people can be angels unaware and you still not helping them. You gotta understand that, fam. It's just stuff like this. It's the little things, fam. Just coming outside in nature and just enjoying this beautiful creation, enjoying hearing the birds, bruh. Life gonna become clearer. You gonna figure out your purpose. You gonna figure out what you need to do. You gonna figure out this and that. But don't rush it. Don't rush the progress, fam. Don't be so focused on the destination, but just embrace the journey, fam. Don't despise small beginnings. Sometimes you're gonna have to work that 9-to-5 job. Sometimes you're gonna have to do what you don't want to do to get to where you're trying to go. Sometimes you're gonna have to get up every day tired, don't want to go to school, but you gotta get up and do it. You gotta understand what it say in the Bible. If a man does not work, a man shall not eat. If you don't work, you can't eat. If you don't get out here and do what you need to supposed to do as a man or a woman, you can't get what you deserve. Like, you think Yahushua gonna just give you something and you not out here grinding for it? You not out here showing him that you want it? You not out here putting in the work? You not out here getting up and doing? You think you just gonna lay down all day and he just gonna give it to you? Like, nah, fam. You gotta get up and show him that you want it, fam. Cause you gotta understand that he can give it to you and he can show enough take it away, fam. You gotta understand that, fam. You gotta be grateful. You gotta be thankful for everything, fam. And people be wondering why the chosen ones be so blessed, and highly favored. Is because they thankful. They grateful for all the little things. They thankful for just even waking up. They thankful for just even having breath. And people talk about some good health is not good. Yeah, all right, good health not good. How you gonna function if you ain't got good health? How you gonna function if you out here throwing up on your DIE bed? Like, you gotta understand that. You gotta be grateful that you got a roof over your head, clothes on your back, shoes on your feet. You gotta be grateful for the little things like that, fam. What he said in the Bible said, be faithful over a few things and I'm gonna make you ruler over many. You gotta be faithful over the other. You gotta show Yahushua that you faithful over the things that you got right now. You gotta show Yahushua that you grateful for the things you have right now, because he can bless you with more. You gotta understand that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and they that dwells therein. You gotta understand that, fam. When all you doing, fam, keep moving forward. Even if you don't got all the answers, even if you're not great at doing something yet, fam, you gotta understand that from failing you learn a lot, but from success not so much. You can pick up on those mistakes. You can pick up on those bad things that you did, and you can just turn it around and you know not to do that again. You know not to go that same route again. You know not to do that same thing again. You gotta understand that, fam. Like I said, fam, just keep moving forward, fam. Life gonna become more clearer. It's gonna start getting better for you, fam. You gotta understand that, fam. And I love y'all. Yahusha loves y'all even more. One love.